is Jeremy McReynolds. I'm the park superintendent for Marshall Gold Discovery State Historic Park. What I want everybody to do now is rise for the Star-Spangled Banner. I just want to introduce the California Mormon Pioneer Band, and it's a special honor to have them play here at this occasion. I'm sure James Marshall would have been proud. He had the Mormon boys here with him that day when he discovered gold. I just have a few words before we turn it over to the native sons and native daughters of the Golden West to perform this special dedication ceremony for the plaque for the 125th anniversary of the dedication of Marshall's monument. The dedication of the monument was on May 3rd, 1890, 125 years ago. And on that day, there's a picture of that event, and the hillside was barren. There was almost no trees up here, so you can appreciate being out in the sun today, like they would have 125 years ago. The monument here, the area up here, was covered with thousands of people. And it was covered with wagons instead of cars and motorcycles. So you can appreciate what that would have looked like at that time. It was pretty neat. From the hill, high above Coloma, a tall bronze-colored statue of James Wilson Marshall points down to the spot on the American River where Marshall discovered gold 1848. Though the figure on its pedestal is 41 feet high, the trees have grown up, and once barren, mined-out hillside constantly threatened to hide the monument from sight. A bitter man in his later years, Marshall would have thought only fitting. For never during his lifetime did he get the recognition and respect he felt deserved. The great event Marshall set in motion left him largely a bystander, trampled and shoved aside by the hordes of gold seekers who rushed in to profit from his discovery. Yet Marshall was more than an accidental discovery of this great treasure, a lucky man struck by the random lightning of the gods. That's from our book on James Wilson Marshall and the California gold discovery. So that's a portrayal of what it was like and what he must have thought. The other reading I want to read is one of our park volunteers, Betty Cedarquist, brought in a reproduction of the Marshall Monument on May 3rd, 1890, a brochure. And this was done by the Mountain Democrat a few years ago. Her father was a park ranger here at the park. And I just want to read a little excerpt about Coloma and what it was like, and what the people read that day in 1890. The town of Coloma has obtained a worldwide notoriety from having been the place where gold was discovered in the state by the American people. One cannot view this valley from any of the surrounding hills without feeling the glittering dust, which we are all striving to obtain, was discovered in a most beautiful place. Neither can we pass from point to point and view the work of those who only sought for the golden treasures and then left them, leaving the unturned and defaced surface as the only evidence of their presence. Without feeling a sense of relief, as we turn and witness the many Comfortable and beautiful homes we see all around, upon the hillsides, nestling in the valleys, about showing evidence of civilization, refinement on every side. It is gratifying to know that if this gold seeker and his occupation should pass away from this locality, that there is every possibility that it will become as much renowned for its varieties of fruits and extensive vineyards, its delicious wines and superior brandies, as for having been the place where gold was first discovered. The place was so far escaped from ravages of general conflagration, in that respect being more fortunate than most towns in California. So that's a little bit about Coloma, what those people read there that day of 1890. I'd like to thank, before we get started, Dave Allen, who helped orchestrate this event, and Dee Goodspeed. She was the one interested in doing a celebration for this, and the Native Daughters parlor at Sutter's Mill here. And we rallied everybody to bring them together for this event and be a part of it and include everyone, and I thank you. I want to thank the Gold Discovery Park Association for their support of the event, and the park staff that helped get the monument ready and ready for this plaque dedication ceremony. So thank you. With that, I want to introduce the Native Sons of the Golden West and the Native Daughters to take over the ceremony. Past President Barney Noel, Parlor number 9. Past President Jim Shadle, Georgetown Parlor 91. Past President Dave Allen, Auburn Parlor number 59. Grand Marshal Jeff Schmidt of Georgetown, Parlor number 91. Supervising District Deputy Jerry Stinson, Parlor number 91. And Native Daughters of the Golden West, President Susie Riley of Bonita Parlor number 10 in Redwood City. And they'll conduct their ceremony. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. We do our dedication ceremony, in which we mix a very special mortar and then do what we call historically sealing this new plaque. You can't hear me? This extraordinary session of the 138th Grand Parlor of the Native Sons and Native Daughters of the Golden West is now assembled, that we may fittingly open our labors. The worthy Junior Past Grand President will offer prayer.
Let us rise, uncover and bow our heads. O great designer and builder of the universe, thou master of time and space, we ask thy blessing upon the work we are here to commence. We beseech thy favor upon the workmen here engaged. We supplicate thee to strengthen the hands of all in worthy endeavors given to us to realize the full aspirations in this building. Make it stand against the storm of time and evil. Permit it to endure against ignorance, injustice, and intolerance. Bless those who shall teach truth. Aid those who shall seek justice. Reward those who shall maintain honor. Preserve unto us the liberties and the traditions of our forefathers. Give unto us, our citizens, courage and understanding. Endow our government and our nation with enduring wisdom, complete toleration, and eternal independence. Let thy light shine upon the whole world to the end that peace, prosperity, equality, liberty shall be a portion of all men, and to thee should be the praise and glory forever. Amen. Amen. You may be seated.
By virtue of my office, I now proclaim the 138th Grand Parlor of the Native Sons of the Golden West convene an extraordinary session for the purpose of rededicating the Marshall Monument. Worthy Grand First Vice President, whence came these sands and gravel, and what do they signify?
Worthy Grand President, this sand and this gravel were gathered from all the counties of California, from her mountains, her rivers, and her valleys, from Del Norte, where the northern boundary emerges from the Pacific, from Modoc, where the northern line intercepts the 120th meridian, from Lake Tahoe, where the boundary departs the meridian to strike the Colorado River, from the Colorado to the Mexican line, from San Diego, where our southern boundary meets the waters of the ocean of peace. It typifies the natural resources and greatness of California, untouched by the arts of man. It is the essence of her being, the foundation laid by the Creator upon which our fathers have built this great state.
Worthy Second Vice President, whence came this cement, and what is the meaning of its presence?
Worthy Grand President, this cement comes from all the mills in California, from Riverside, from Colton, from San Juan, from Santa Cruz, from San Andreas, from Redwood City, from Permanente, from all places within our state where the skill of man transforms the natural rock into a needed element of construction. It typifies the industry and efforts of mankind. It brings to our minds the proof that man has harnessed the forces of nature and has wrought well for the advancement of humanity. As it is a necessary element of construction, it symbolizes the truth that the reason and energy of man is necessary to bind together the elements of society that a perfect state may exist.
Worthy Third Vice President, whence came this water and what does it tell us?
Worthy Grand President, this water is brought from the sites of each of the missions of California, from San Diego, founded in 1769, to Sonoma, founded in 1823. It speaks to us of the saintly Junipero Serra, the intrepid Anza, and the patient Laison, of the gallant Patola and the discoverer Duran. It tells us of the discoverer Cabrillo and the explorer Valdez and the soldier Galvez. It brings to our minds still that important era when the sons of Columbia established respect and law and right without the power of force, and built here by the strength of their own will a great state. It calls to memory of all the beautiful traditions of the past. It is symbolic of the spirit that made and preserved us a nation. It typifies the reverence that we feel for established government, for the law of justice. It is here as a symbol of patriotism and loyalty. It admonishes us that the resources of nature and the energy of man cannot accomplish lasting results unless mingled with the lessons and the traditions of the past.
The worthy Grand President Abe Daughters has a special part to do with us today.
After Marshall's discovery of gold, the great influx of 49ers gave to California the distinction of being the only state to enter the sisterhood of states without a territorial form of government. Many of these miners did not find the gold they sought, but realized there was gold in our soil and sunshine, so they remained to be the builders of our great social, religious, educational, and commercial life. With the pioneer men came the pioneer woman, who carried on though weary and discouraged. When she reached her journey's end in this land of heart's desire, she helped in creating a new home. She changed the mining camp into a sunny hillside of homes. As a leader, she was brave, determined, and resourceful. Through her influence came the church and the school to prepare the future citizens of California. We perpetuate in memory and glorious deeds of these pioneer men and women of California. These pioneers, though unconscious of the fact that God had given them a mission, went forth into the wilderness to establish homes to provide for the coming of civilization, to develop the paths that are now the highways over which countless thousands travel today in peace, contentment, and happiness. So we pay our homage of respect to these great adventurous people who blazed the trails and laid the foundation of this empire for the West, our California. These citizens who have a great vision say that California of the future will far surpass California of today. We are the builders of this great future, so we must build with care and cooperation so that California will always merit her worldwide reputation of being the greatest, the best, the most glorious state of the Golden West.
May the resources of nature, mingled with the energy of man, ever produce fit material from which to build a splendid future. May the traditions and lessons of the past ever keep us true to our duty. May example of our forefathers hold us fast to our destined work. Thus, with the bounteous resources of nature, do we mingle the energy and reason of man to produce the present. The present is likened unto this mortar, which we may mold and shape at our will. If we have made it according to the teachings of the past, it will harden into history that will glorify us. But errors on our part will forever show in the hardened mass. The present is ours, but the present will soon be the past. We shall pass on into history. Let our work be worthily done, to the end that our characters will make good history. Thus, with the bounteous resources of nature, do we mingle the energy and reason of man to produce the present. On behalf of all men who love truth, justice, equality, independence, and toleration, I now declare the Marshall Monument well and truly rededicated, and as our native state has contributed to the mortar with which this plaque is sealed, so may the hearts of all men cherish and defend liberty and justice. May law ever prevail. May loyalty ever move the sons of California to preserve the spirit of 49. And may California ever prosper as the home of free-born, tolerant Americans. The junior past grand president will now ask our favor of heaven upon our work.
Please rise again. Uncover and bow your heads. Father eternal, lift up the hearts of all men. Give them to act beyond their words. Make their practices equal to their promises. Extend thy divine protection to the work of this day. Cause this building to be a beacon of light and hope to all the inhabitants hereabout. Endow all who shall labor therein with truth and wisdom. Bless all who shall labor for the advancement of our country and its people. Preserve unto us the inheritance of our fathers. Give unto our children greater light than was given unto us, and eternal rest grant unto all those who shall fall in the battle of life. Amen. Amen. You may be seated.
The work for which we have assembled having been completed, I now declare this extraordinary session of the 138th Grand Parlor of the Native Sons of the Golden West duly closed. Now I'm supposed to read the wording on the plaque, but the wording here is for Woodland's first post office, so I'm going to wander over to the plaque. Good afternoon. Marshall Monument, 1890.
This plaque commemorates the 125th anniversary of the Native Sons of the Golden West dedication of the James W. Marshall Monument by Placerville Parlor Number 9, Native Sons of the Golden West. The Native Sons of the Golden West, Placerville Parlor Number 9, Auburn Parlor Number 59, Georgetown Parlor Number 91, which incidentally we called the Golden Triangle. Native Daughters of the Golden West, Marguerite Parlor Number 12, Placerville, and Sutter's Mill Parlor Number 336, Coloma. Rededicated May 9th, 2015 by the Native Sons of the Golden West and the Native Daughters of the Golden West. Jeremy mentioned it was a day much like this when they did the original dedication, and can you try to imagine 3,500 people showed up to what Placerville Parlor thought was going to be a small ceremony. The only announcement I could find with Grand Parlor was done at the Grand Parlor that was held in the middle of April. It just simply said there was going to be a dedication of a monument in Coloma, and they didn't expect much response. They also mentioned that there would be a train available from Sacramento. So I guess as people showed up, they kept adding a car, and then another car. How the heck they got them all from Placerville down here in time for their ceremony is beyond me, because it said you would return the same day. But on behalf of Placerville Number 9, George Hoffmeister, whose name you see on the other side there on the plaque, is a member of Placerville Number 9. He more or less came up with this concept at a time when nobody in the West had thought anything about a monument to a person. And he approached Grand Parlor, but unfortunately for him, Grand Parlor had already been approached by C.E. Grunsky, who was promoting a project to purchase and restore Sutter's Fort. So Grand Parlor formed a committee for that, and Grand Parlor, still sort of being in infancy at the time, left it up to Placerville Parlor pretty much on its own to pursue what you see here today. So I'd like to acknowledge George and his foresightedness to do a wonderful thing for James Wilson Marshall. Would you like to make an introduction?
First, I'd like to say, on behalf of the Native Daughters, it's my great honor to be here, and I would just like to personally again commend the Native Sons and Native Daughters for putting this event together. Would you join me in thanking them, please? In particular, I'd also like to say special thank you to Sutter's Mill Parlor 336. As you know, maybe don't know, they were newly instituted last January, a year ago. So they've only been in existence as a group for a little over a year, and we just really admire their remarkable dedication and fortitude to accomplish this. And I know past Grand President Debbie Stalder supported that effort, as did Dee Goodspeed, Deputy Grand President, and I'd like to acknowledge them both. I don't know if it's on or not.
Well, we ran out of batteries.
Same thing happened back in 1890.
So we have a special treat today. One of our volunteers, Ed Allen, has taken on the role of James Marshall, and he can give you a little bit about what his experience might have been those last few years, and what he might feel retrospectively on being here 125 years.
Well, I'm told you're here to celebrate my life. And for the life of me, I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. Now, I've laid in there for 130 years thinking about this, reviewing my life. And all I can think of is a lot of unpleasantness. And look at my business life. The sawmill ran for 2.5 years, and then we had to abandon it because of competition from other sawmills. I started growing grapes and had an orchard right up here, making wine and brandy. I couldn't make enough to support myself. I moved over to Kelsey, where I had a little blacksmith shop. And I got into a partnership with a fellow on the Gray Eagle mine. And things started to turn around at that point. Now, the blacksmith shop was a failure. There wasn't enough business to support me there. But the state of California, due to my friends, gave me a pension of $200 a month. Well, after a couple of years of that, I was down in Sacramento listening to the legislature speak, and I got up to leave, and a brandy bottle fell out of my pocket and broke on the floor. They saw that and decided, well, if I'm just drinking that money up, they'll cut me back to $100 a month. Well, I was using that mine to I was using that money to develop that mine. And so, of course, we had to sell the mine. And, of course, the people that got the mine got rich. After 2 years of $100 a month, they cut me off completely. I'm destitute. Well, there's a lot of nice people up in Kelsey. And they'd invite me to dinner all the time. And I wouldn't go because it was charity. So the women of Kelsey, bless their hearts, got together and on a rotating basis would put a plate of food out on a back porch. I'd wander around town, find my food, eat it, and wander off. Do you see anything to celebrate there? No. Well, I'm going to leave now, and I'd really kind of appreciate it if you just allow me to rest in peace. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Marshall. And we have a lot of events today in the park. The Living History event going on down in the park. Make sure you partake in that. We have a Mother's Day event tomorrow, more Living History. And if you've got tickets, I think it's sold out for a Mother's Day brunch. I do have a special presentation by the Sierra Nevada Mormon Pioneers. And they'd like to present a salute, a musket salute. And they're going to fire their cannon off down in the field as a proclamation for today and a recognition for Marshall's 125-year stay here, or 130 years and 125 years of the monument. So I'll let them.
May we do one quick thing?
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the honor. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say, some of you know Dee Goodspeed works very hard for the parks and for Native Daughters. She was recently installed as the president of the Past Presidents Association for the state, so we really admire her and congratulate her. And in her behalf, we are making a donation to the Marshall's Gold Discovery Historic Park, and we'd like to present that to you in her honor. So thank you, Dee, for your good work, and thank you, the park, for your kind work.
So this will go to our Gold Discovery Park Association,
Thank
where
you
they
so
contribute money to do the interpretive improvements. As you've seen, we did get the bond funding to rebuild Sutter's Mill. We have more exhibits going on in the next year to replace the signs or put signs where you see the sign holders. So there's a lot happening here at the park and a lot to be excited about. And we're going to do a dedication for the new sawmill at some point too. So when we get it all done, we have to finish it first. So thank you for the donation. All right, Sierra Nevada Mormon Pioneers, come on up and
Details, shoulder, arm,
cover your ears if you need to.
forward, march. Up. Ready. Aim. Fire.
Thank you.
Order arms.
So thank you all for coming, and I really appreciate that we're here to celebrate the 125 years. And welcome to the park.
Anyone?